Hello to my friends across the sea. I'm Tobias and I'm the new events manager for Mantic Games, as well as the proprietor at the store here. And I'll also be looking after the Pathfinders who will be going across the world demoing our games. We have games such as Kings of War, which is our fantasy battle game, Rank and Flank, Armada, which is our sea battle game, set in the world of Kings of War. Several different fleets in which you can battle over the seas to dominate. We also have two sci-fi games. We have Firefight and Deadzone, set in the Warpath universe, which is all about conglomerates trying to take over the entire galaxy and make money from it. So the humans aren't the good guys here. And we've got 8 different factions within that, but also we've got Deadzone. So Deadzone is the small game, a small size map which is gridded, and this allows you to not use a tape measure, you're just rolling dice, and make it really easy to find the range and move your models around the table. We've also got Firefight, which is our bigger game. So this is allowing you to take those models you've built in your Deadzone games and build them up into a bigger force. What we'll show you now is the shop. If you ever come to Nottingham, you'll meet me, try a game out of Kings of War, Firefight, Deadzone, Armada. You'll get to have a tour around the whole premises, get to see how models are made. You get to spend probably about an hour with Ronnie, who is our proprietor, who owns the whole company, and he will talk your socks off, and you'll have a great time doing so, and you'll learn so much about Mantic Games and so much about what Mantic is all about. Have a game that is easy to learn but hard to master, beautiful models that aren't going to break the bank when you buy them, and you're just going to tell your friends about it. And that's really what Mantic Games is about. So when you come to the store, you'll see a series of cabinets. These cabinets are filled with studio figures. So if you want to see what these figures could look like in their ultimate form, come and have a little look. And you'll see not just the fantastic figures, but great dioramas as well. And now this is actually modelled on the cover of a game we had for a little while, which was Kings of War Vanguard. Here are some of the shop's store armies. You can of course use if you come down, try out the game. That is Goblin Blaster. If you are involved in competitions where you come with a fully painted Mantic army, you might be able to win it. So you see a wide variety of gaming tables here. Here's a couple of our snow tables. It could be used for either Kings of War or indeed some of our sci-fi games. Some of our board games, so we've got not just board games but dice games. We work with Dark Horse Comics on a few of their different IPs, such as Hellboy or the Umbrella Academy, and even The Walking Dead. So this is Kings of War. So what we've got laid out for you is 2 ambush sets, the sets that are really easy to get you into the game of Kings of War, and it's also a style of playing the game. It's a smaller version, which makes it a lot easier to get started. But what is Kings of War? It's a rank and flank game, which is all about defeating your enemy, and the best way to do that is to engage them, break one unit, go through their lines, and then through one or several units, get them on the flank, which is the side of the unit, or the rear, which is the back. Reason for that is I'll show you now. So if this unit of skeleton warriors engages this unit here, what you'll get is normally you'd look at your unit profile and you would see you get 10 attacks. So the unit to the front would normally get 10 attacks. But if they manage to get around to the side, the flank of their enemy, they double their attacks. And now that 10 becomes 20. So you get 20 dice. But if you manage to get around to the rear of the enemy, that now triples your attacks. So you get 10, 20, 30 attacks with this unit, making it a lot easier to defeat the enemy. So your object is to pin some units in place. So for instance, I would take this unit here, pin them in place, and then even though these are a big brawly unit of strong fellows, I would then engage them in the side here to finish them off. Because it may be that they start to dismantle this unit, but just before they break, this unit comes in. Now, a real sort of key part of this game, of Kings of War, is that you roll your dice in your turn. So I would say with this Empire of Dust, I would move them all around. I would first move them, I would then do all the shooting attacks, I would then do all the combat, So it wouldn't be, say, if I engage with this unit here, it wouldn't be I attack and they attack. I just attack. I roll my dice. And then once I've put, say, 4 wounds on this enemy here, so there's a 4 here, so to show that I put 4 wounds on them, what I would then do is I'd roll 2 dice, and I would consult their stats, and I would see that these guys, they're called butchers, their nerve is 13. So what I need there is I need to equal 13 to waver them. But there's also a second stat, which is 15. So what that stat is, if they reach 15, they are destroyed. They will basically, they've had enough. They've either all been killed or enough of them have been killed and then some of them start to run away. So what I do is I've got 4 there. So I add 4 to the 2 dice I roll. So I roll a 6 there, which is 4 plus 6 is 10. And I needed 13. So that means they are not wavered and they are not running away. But if I got a 10 instead, and I add it to 4, what we get there is 14. So that means that beats 13, which means they are now wavered, which makes them not as good in combat and more likely to run away. But if I got even more, and I've got 12 there, plus 4 would be 12 plus 4 is 16. That beats their final stat of 15, which means these guys would now run away. That's the main focus of what you want to do. You want to get your enemies to run away. This is the new Kings of War ambush starter set, 2 players, the Chill of Twilight. This is going back to Tokyo Tabletop Games. So you'll be able to have a demo of this. And what this contains is 2 small ambush armies of the Northern Alliance, a combination of men, elves, dwarves, and even giant ravens against the Twilight Kin, or like twisted elves, from all the abyss that they've been sinking their teeth into. So this is literally a combination of this ambush starter set and this one here, bringing it all together, taking 2 people, getting started into the game of Kings of War. Let's go ahead and take a look at another game. So another game is Armada, again set in the worlds of Panathor, just like Kings of War, but this time you're on the seas of Panathor, with several of the factions that are within Kings of War have been translated into Armada. So you get a wide breadth of factions, including orcs, Basileans, humans, and dwarves. So it's all resin ships, and you get a small collection of Basilean ships and also orc vessels in the starter set. So here it's just a collection of what's in that starter set. And the game is very similar to Kings of War in that you're trying to position and outwit your opponent to get in a better position. And in this regard, in a maritime sense, it's great to get a broadside on your opponent, but if you manage to get down the long part of the boat, it's called raking, and you get to double your attacks. So that's Armada. So why not, let's take a look at another game. Why not a sci-fi one this time? So now what we're looking at is the Warpath universe, which actually currently has 2 games. So we've got Deadzone, your skirmish game. So this is set on a small gridded board, which allows for easy movement and also ranging on your opponents, so you don't need a tape measure. Then you've also got Firefight, which is your slightly larger scale game. Not quite a big scale, but allows you to have, instead of just a few small figures, you've got units of 10s to 20s of figures running around. But soon we've got Warpath, the game coming out, which is going to be a much larger scale, so we're calling it sort of epic scale, which is much smaller figures than you see here. Let's take a closer look at some of these games. So this is Deadzone. It's a game fought on a small grid, allowing you to use the grid for movement as well as range from your opponent. And it's fought in quarantine planets, where it's in small urban environments with special forces, allowing you to creep around corners, fire snipers from buildings, engage in close hand-to-hand combat. And it's a very fast, quick, and easy game to learn using 8-sided dice and something we call the exploding 8. So when you roll an 8, you can keep rolling your dice. So in theory, if you keep rolling 8s, you can roll again. But I'm terrible at rolling 8s, so it doesn't happen very often. So if Deadzone was your low model count and special forces game, Firefight is your slightly larger game where you can get vehicles involved. And what this allows you to do is fight bigger games over bigger tables, from like 4x4, 4-foot by 4-foot tables to 6-foot by 4-foot tables. And then in about a year's time, we've got the Warpath game coming out where you can play on much larger tables with much larger forces. So again, this is set in the Warpath universe, where you've got the galactic co-prosperity sphere pushing down on the rest of the galaxy, such as the Forge Fathers, which are like your space dwarves, and even the Vermin, which are your basically space rats. So that's just a quick look at a few of our games. So why not come to Nottingham, come to the Mantic Games HQ store, come for a tour, try out a game, and get into Mantic Games.
I'm your man. I'll do anything
I'm
if you pay
your
me.
man. If you pay me enough, I'll do anything.
Baby,
I'm your man. We also have 2 sci-fi games. We have Firefight and Deadzone, and that is set in the global co-prosperity sphere. It's all about corporations trying to take on other corporations to. It's all okay. So the global co-prosperity sphere.
baby, I'm your man.
It's like, can someone explain to me the global prosperity sphere?
Galactic Prosperity Sphere.
Okay.
Which is if Amazon bought your next door neighbours and then bought you as well.
2, 3, and
Baby, I'm your man. Don't you know? So this is the new ambush starter set for Kings of War, the Chill of Twilight, and we're taking it back to Tokyo Drift. What games? What did she say? What's it called? What's it called?
Tokyo Tabletop Games, Tokyo Drift, that was
Tokyo Tabletop Games.
If you can say anything about its delivery, it was fast and furious.
Wow.
2, 3, and
Baby, I'm your man. Don't you know? I thought that was quite good, actually. I just went for it.
That was a good run.